there yarn lovers, it's Gary and I'm coming to you from my happy place, the Yarn Corner here on this festive Friday, December the 2nd, 2022, and this is video number 166. How are you all doing? I hope you're well and staying safe. Here in the Yarn Corner, I'm feeling very festive, as you can tell by the twinkling lights. I've got lots to catch you up on because it's been a while since I spoke of anything that I've been making, and I've been putting out videos, but they seem to be driven more about unboxings and coupon codes and all that wonderful stuff. At this time of year, we love a bit of a sale and a bit of a shop, so those things are very important as well to spread amongst the Yarny community. And if you're happening across this for the very first time, this channel was set up to talk about my Yarny adventures. That's in knit, crochet. I do dabble in a little bit of yarn dyeing, and I talk about acquisitions where I buy my things that I craft with. That's tools and also yarn, also patterns, all that sort of good stuff. So if that is of interest to you, please stick around. And for the Yarny friends who have returned, I want to say welcome back, and I've been loving the comments. Thank you so much for all the comments in the last few videos. I know they weren't about makes, but they were all about sales and coupon codes and saving a bit of money over the Christmas period, which is essential, I think. So thank you so much for all of those comments. Also, Hank got a lot of mentions as well with this beautiful scarf that I knitted a few years back, and people wanted to know what it was. So I'll talk about the scarf, what he's wearing, what I'm wearing. I'll move on then into my makes, and then later down the way I'll talk about some of the things that I've been up to with my hubby here in the new community that I moved into. So a little bit of an update on what's been going on. All the only good stuff will be up front, so if you want to stick around for that stuff, it'll be all here. And then if you want to hang out for the chat, then stick around. So talk about Hank, and what I'm wearing is the scarf here is a pattern that I found in this beautiful gifted book that I received from Kim from Affordably Crafty, and it is called Knit Noro. Now the design inside is called the Ridged Ripple Scarf, and it is a knitted pattern, and the design is by Tina Whitmore. Really love making that. It's not brioche. Strangely enough, it's all about slip stitching and also color work. So using the same color, I believe. No, maybe doing rounds, or maybe passing the color as you're working it through. I can't quite remember how to work it, but I am wanting to do it again. So I'll give you more information. It's funny when you make these things, these wonderful items, and learn a new technique, and then it seems to kind of like go out of my mind if I don't continually do them. So maybe due for another one of these. This sweater that I'm wearing is Stephen West Drangey, and I believe that's how you pronounce it. Before we get started on the makes that I've been working on, I'd like to share with you some admin. Now, this is the perfect time of year to get a discount here and there because we are gearing up for the holidays. So for those who are interested, there are some amazing coupons here. Our friends down at Hirschner's are offering a free shipping anywhere in the contiguous United States of America as well as Canada. When you put the code in at checkout at hirschners.com, Urban Yarn, and it's all one string. If you put that into the coupon code area, you'll receive free shipping only up until December the 7th, 2022. So if you're watching this beyond that date, they always have great discounts, but that code won't be effective. And our friends over at Hobby, they have given us a discount code as well of Urban Yarn 5, all one string, 5 being the number at the end. If you put that in checkout, you will receive an additional 5% off off of your total price. And those items can be discounted already or on clearance. So it's just an additional treat there for Christmas. Okay, let's kick into the finished objects that I've got for you. And the first one is a knitted project. It is a slouchy beanie. No pattern. I call it the vanilla style beanie. So it does have a sort of a cuff here, then it works into the body and the crown section. And I absolutely love it. What do you think? Those autumn colors are just amazing. Kind of reminds me a little bit of tiger stripes. So there's the crown there. And the construction of it is 72 stitches using a 6mm clover bamboo needle in the fixed 16-inch cable length. And I started off doing a 1x1 ribbing. It's got a half twist to it. So that means 1x1 ribbing, one round, just normal. And the next round, second round, is done with every knit stitch through the back loop. Creates a little bit more of an opening to the ribbing as it would to if it was just a plain knit and pearl. So I really like the texture on it. Did that for about maybe 4 inches, and then continued on with stockinette, working my way up to around 4.5 to 5 inches, and then the crown, where I chose a division of 6, and it was 72 stitches. So that was my clusters of 6 in the decreasing, and the decreases were done in a way where it was one round decreasing every 6 cluster, and one round of just plain knitting stockinette, and then alternating that until I got down to where the groups of the clusters were 4 or 5. I think it was 5 actually, 5 stitches per cluster, and then I continually decreased every round following. So until I had like 6 stitches left, and then I just wove in them and cinched and then tied in my loose ends. So let's take a look. It's really warm in the room, so I don't know how long I can wear it for, but I'll put it on for you. There's the slouch. Really like it. It's got a nice kind of loungy, relaxed kind of feel to it. I like it a lot. Now this cuff that I made is long enough that if I wanted to curl it up to double up on the cuff size, it's long enough, and I can then wear it more like a fitted beanie or slightly fitted beanie. So there are multiple options with it, but I do like it slouchy. And let's talk about the yarn that I used for this. So it was Alaray Unique, which is a play on words there. I just let you see what the label looks like. And the colorway is Scarborough Fair. This ball is 50% wool, 50% acrylic, and it is considered a 5 bulky. So it paired really well with my 6mm needles that I was using. Now it is 100 grams, had only used 70 grams of yarn, and I have another 30 grams left. So enough maybe to do a scrappy project or add it in with something else. So I really like how stripy it turned out and the way the colors pulled. So nothing consistent about it, but a nice breakdown and overall treatment of striping and micro lines. I really like it. The next item that I've got is a crocheted finished item, and it was my second version to a project or basket or project bag made from iCord. Now the first one's up there. It's got a project waiting to happen in it. And I did another one because I had enough of my iCord that I was making up with my little knitting mill. Now, someone asked me what the knitting mill was. I just got to get up and find it over there. So I'll just stop the camera for a moment. So I found my knitting mill, and here it is here. I paid around 40 Canadian dollars for it on Amazon.ca. It came to me in about 2 days when I ordered it. And yeah, I really like it, but I would suggest shopping around to try out, you know, price points on different vendors that may sell knitting mills. There's all different models. My model is called Prim, and I can't close that box up. I don't know what's happened to the lid. It came with a instructional kit and a weight. The weight is essential for the iCord to create tension, and you'll need that. I'm not sure what this number at the top here means. Maybe it is the make of the model on top of the logo. It is 624145. So yeah, really enjoy it. What you do is you feed in your yarn. These little pins go up and down, and they knit the iCord for you. And the iCord comes out the bottom, and you can continue on as much as as long as you want, as long as your ball at the end is free to rotate. Yeah, you won't have any jam ups then, but make sure that you keep it free to rotate. And this is what it looks like when it comes out. This is a regular worsted weight number 4. I believe it might be Peyton's that I overdyed, so it's quite a woolly yarn, and it worked well. Yeah. And if you're looking for a great tutorial to help you through, if you are thinking of buying this, I would suggest Anne and Carlos. They have a YouTube channel. They're hilarious. I love all of their works. They always bring out the most amazing Christmas ball patterns, and they have some great suggestions on color work that I've watched. And they also do a tutorial on a knitting mill, how to feed the knitting mill, changing up colors, and also, you know, I guess how to make sure that it spins freely. So I will link that down below, and that will be a great start if you're thinking or you have one of these to try it out. So back to the pattern where I use the iCord. This is what I came up with. So in my first bag that I created, I was just doing a plain kind of bucket bag where you do a base crochet and you increase around the corners so that you create a base. And then when you are happy with the, I guess, the circumference of the size, you then stop increasing, and then the coils just stack up. And the first one that I did, I created this kind of lacy knitwear. It's almost like a plait going through loops, and I really like the design of the first one, which is back here. So I did another one, and I did my base in an oval, and then I only did half of the bag going back and forth until I completed all the way up to here. Then I turned the bag around because this side wasn't done, and I went back and forth with the iCord on this side to complete that side there. And then what I did with excess iCord, I fed them through all the loops that were left on the edges, and I looped it all the way around, all the way up, over on each side, and down through there. So I used one big continual iCord for just looping all those loops, and at the top I wove it into the top part of the edging, and then I kitchen stitched them together so it was a continual iCord. I really like it. The yarn that I used to bind it all was a ribbon yarn from Loops and Threads, and it's called Ribbon Dancer. Now that's a Michael's House brand, and it's kind of like a flat tape yarn, very shiny, silky. It has these wonderful bright colors in it, and I found that this yarn was great to use to make sturdier walls. My first attempt was just with a coarse like a twine, but it was like a very circular type, maybe a number 3 DK, and I found that the walls were like not very sturdy. They were beautiful, but they were kind of a little bit flimsy, and with a ribbon yarn it helped to keep the walls more sturdy. And I used the color Parrot and the color Sunset, so I had to use 2.5 balls to create this. So single crochet, chain space, single crochet, chain. So yeah, you're kind of like doing that all the way around in a spiral, and in this instance I was going back and forth until I finished one side and then went back and did the other side. And right now it's got 6 hanks in it. It has 6 hanks, so it could be a project for maybe a sweater vest with no sleeves, or a scarf or shawl. Something that has around maybe 4 or 5 skeins in it would be fine. And what I like about it is that I can peel back these handles and then it'll sit as an open project, and then I can knit or crochet my project out of it straight away, and it stands up really, really nicely. So I love it. I'll add some photos of this at the end to show it off a little bit more, maybe to also detail how I created half of the bag first and then the other side. So yeah. So the next finished objects that I'm going to show you are for Christmas. Now, this has a theme, a game, and a reason why I'm using my knitting machine, because of the quantities that I need to make in a short amount of time. So at Christmas this year, I'm attending a dinner where there will be around 19 people. Now, these people don't watch my YouTube channel. One does. So I don't think I'm going to be doing any spoilers to show what I'm thinking of to do on Christmas Day or Christmas evening when everyone's together. I am going to be making scarves this year for everyone who attends, and I'll be wrapping them up. They will be a lucky dip, so people will be coming up to the pile of the gifts and they'll pick one and they'll get whatever they get. There's a chance for them to switch and change if they're absolutely loving someone else's and they want to do that exchange. That's totally fine. But inside of some of the scarves that I'm creating for the gifts will be Christmas Carol songs. Now, hubby's going to do a playlist where we'll ask them to sing the carol, and the playlist will be maybe a digital version where it has the words as well, and everyone can sing along. So a little bit of caroling, a little bit of festivities with opening and sharing gifts, and a lot of fun. So I've used the knitting machine because I've got to crank out 19 of them. I've done 6 already. Some of them you've already seen. And so here is a few of them that I've added to the numbers. And we have this scarf here. Now, I've hand knitted these scarves before, this style of striping scarf. And when I get to around 6 feet of a tube, I kind of bind off and Kitchener stitch the edges, and then that's my scarf. But knitting them by hand has taken me up to a week to finish one scarf. Now, I did a few of those as sets, and that's how long it took me to knit them. So the knitting machine is purely here for creating these wonderful presents in a short time frame. And I'm going through all my healthy scraps. So I have balls of yarn that I've used, half of them to make a hat, and some of them have been in my collection for a while, so I wanted to just bust out some of those single skeins. And this one here is awesome. It's like, I'm going to say it's around 6'3", so it's one of my longer ones, and I've used yarn like the tensile yarn called worsted soft or soft worsted, and I've got colors like toast, and I've got bronze, and then I'm using Vanna's Choice here in the red. There's also Red Heart Soft. All of these are worsted yarn that kind of have the same weight and sheen to them. So that's my first one that's going into the pile. Another one here, which is done. This one is a little shorter. I'm going to say this is probably around 5'11", about 5'11", and I'm using in this one, it's Bernay Cozy Style in the color, I think that's called Autumn Yellow, and it is Lion Brand Scarfy in a gray color. I don't know, it's like it fades from a light gray to a middle gray. Really like that one too. So happy and cheerful. I've also am in the works of doing a bind off treatment. my Kitchener stitching at the ends make it nice and neat. So there's no cinching involved, and that's just an example there of how the Kitchener stitch works to close off the cylinder. And my last one in the works still is this one here. It's probably around the same length as the grey-yellow one. And this one's purple and red, using that Vanna's Choice again. And 2 balls of the Hobby Lobby Soft and Sleek in a berry colorway. I think it's called Berry. So yeah, I've got some striping going on the ends. And when you are wearing it, you have the same stripes on the ends. Yeah, kind of nice scrappy projects. I've already done 3 of these. So this 3 will make 6 in the 19 that I've got to do. Now, I'm not sure whether hubby and I will need 1 each as well, but it would be nice to join in on the fun and pick out and maybe see if I get a Christmas carol to sing. And yeah, so if I am short on time, I might do 17, so we can just adjudicate the game and also get the playlist going and concentrate on keeping 19 people focused. So that'll be a lot of fun. The next project I want to show you is a knitted work in progress, and it is the Stephen West 2022 make-along called Twists and Turns. Now, the make-along is over. It finished October 31st, so we're now sitting in December, and there are no more spoiler alerts that are needed, I don't think, because people have been flashing this around and there's lots of thumbnails out there. So here it is here, and I'm not going to do any spoiler alert. So you've seen clue 1 here, which is the chevron-y part, and something is getting stuck here, which was a big learning curve for me because I had binding off, casting on in between rows, which was interesting. Then clue 2 was the stripy bits here. It was a lot of fun knitting, and these little twisted rib stripes down the middle, and then cabling. So that was a lot of fun doing the cables on the bottom. So that was clue 2. Now I'm up to clue 3, and I'm almost done. I've done 1 tentacle. I call it tentacle. Here we go. It's really nothing much right now. It's not showing all the learns in it, but I'll put this down because it is quite an interesting thing to unravel and talk about. There we go. It's a, what did Stephen call this? It was a twisted rib cable, and you learn how to twist and change up the direction of the ribbing. And so I really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. There is a way that Stephen explains in his video on how to do the twisted rib cable without a cable needle. And I found that that was quite helpful to see in dexterity wise. When you're reading a pattern and it just gives you the acronym, it's quite hard to understand what to do with your hands. So it's, I don't know, more and more so often now, the combination of pattern alongside with a tutorial, like a video, is needed, because language sometimes doesn't show you how to do it, especially when it's an acronym. And I think the video is essential in this make. So lovely learn there. Loved it a lot. And you might be scratching your head to say, what's on earth is going on with those tentacles? Well, you could just Google it and find out, but I'll keep it as a surprise. I mean, what's going to happen with this? How is it going to integrate? I'm super curious about it myself. So yeah, I got that one done, and this is how much I've got of the other one. So yeah, another, I'm going to say, maybe 4 sit downs with this one to finish, and then I'll be well and truly on my way to clue number 4. The yarn that I'm using, it's a bit of a gift pack. So anything that I mention down below or forget about saying was a gift, I'll always include it down in a special note in my description box. So what do we have? My main color is this beautiful yarn here, and it is from West Yorkshire Spinners. I got a message. It is from their Exquisite collection, and the colorway is called Bayswater. I absolutely love working with this one. Has a little bit of a softer feel to it. When you see it in person, when it knits up, it gives you a slight halo, and I do like that. So it's not a brisk or sharp yarn at all, and there is a bit of texture in there with the twist on it. I like using this yarn. Now, juxtapose that with this here as the contrast color, and this is the Madeline Tosh, and I believe it's called Light something or other. I'll just check. I haven't opened this up for a while, so I don't know what it's called. It's called Madeline Tosh Merino Light, and it is a single ply. The colorway is one of a kind called Herbology, but I actually got 2 hanks of this, so it fitted really nicely in with the yarn requirement. And I love this up against it. It does have a different type of softness to it than the Yorkshire Spinners, and those are the 2 together. And my accent color here is this one, and this is a knit crate yarn. It's from Vitellana, and the colorway is called Walking Dead. So there's my highlighter green there, and these are the colors all together that I've selected. Absolutely gorgeous. And once again, if you need to get a little up close and a look-see at the colors together, those are the 2, the main and the contrast, and then that's the main and the accent. I'm really happy with it. I do like it. It's definitely graphic and quite an interesting piece that I don't normally wear, but I don't know, I think it's subtle enough that I'd be able to maybe choose an outfit where I can wear it. I use a lot of green in my clothing anyway, so this would work in nicely. Yeah, so tell me what you think. And now onto Happy Mail, and I'm going to do a backtracking here. About 3 weeks ago, I was talking to a person who would like to remain anonymous. So we were talking about fiber. Oh, why wouldn't we be? It's like a fiber channel. And the question was, had I ever tried a certain type of fiber? And I said, no, I haven't. And I didn't really know or understand that this was actually a fiber that crafters would use. But Bison, I'd not heard of that. So I said, no, looking later into it, as I do when I'm trying to investigate more fibers, this fiber, Bison, is quite an exquisite and luxury yarn. So I made sure that I jumped back on and said, hey, I know that you asked me questions about it, but I don't need an expensive gift like that. It's way too expensive. And my friend basically said to me, it's already done. Like I'm sending it your way, and you should get it. I think it arrived a week ago. So I'm so touched and thrilled to have this, and I'm thinking of things to make, which I'll show you and talk to you about later. But this is from Windy Valley Musquash, and they are at windyvalleymusquash.net. I'll include that down in the description box. And this yarn is just amazing. The baby small cakes here have so much yardage in them. This is what it looks like. The label is Oh, you can't even see it. Here we go. Bison Yarn. And the box that it came in has the logo on it, which might be a little easier to see. Quivix. And it's The Nature of Luxury. This is so delicate and soft. It's my favorite color too. I love it. I love it so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's look at, it comes from Alberta, and Alberta's in Canada. Alberta's a province in Canada. And what else can I tell you about it? It says it's bison and merino yarn. So it's a combination, 50% bison, 50% merino. In these 28-gram balls, I'm getting 217 yarns. So I think that's a lace weight. So together, I could double them up and make a weight that is more of a fingering weight. And I'm thinking of maybe doubling it up with not each other, but maybe holding it together, one together with a sport weight yarn, and then using that beautiful thermal quality apparently Bison has with the merino. So they're extra warm. And I'm thinking of making fingerless gloves or mittens. Now, there are a couple of patterns that I'm really interested in trying of late, and one is Tin Can Knit's paddle mittens, and the other one is Bag of Days. It's called the fingerless gloves, and that's a recent tutorial that Crystal over at Bag of Day brought out, I think about a week ago. So maybe in the late part of November, it was released of 2022. I think that'll look beautiful. So I'll put those back in this precious box, and I will definitely love working with this. So thank you so much. It doesn't stop there. There was another gift that came from a different vendor as well, from the same mystery gifter. And well, I know who the gifter is. And it came from the Arcane Fireworks. Now, I have visited their website and seen the beautiful dye treatments that they do with their colorways, and they always use inspirational photographs to kind of like showcase where they got the color ideas from, and each and every one of them hits the mark all the time. So this colorway here is called Mahogany Dreams. Oh, it's amazingly, the colors, how they transition in this series of browns, oranges, there's a bit of what looks like purple in there. It makes it velvety looking and super, super cream-like, like a delicious dessert. I absolutely love them. So let me tell you, I've got two of these, so I can do a shawl or add these into a beautiful cowl in some way. Oh, simple stitches I think would work great with something that has a variegation of this high contrast. Or if I want to use window, like choose a neutral to add to it to make little vignettes or stained glass windows and have this as the beautiful glasswork in between the framing. So hexagons would look nice, or a type of, even like a brioche would be beautiful. One side plain, the other side have this beautiful color. And the Mahogany Dreams here is a fingering weight sock yarn, and it's 80-20, so that's 80 merino, 20 nylon, 400 meters or 439 yards, 100 grams in the hank. And they're saying here that recommended needle size is a US 1 to 3. I don't know what that is in millimeters. And the crochet is, hook size suggestion is a B1 to a E4. I think the 1 and 4 might be millimeters. So again, beautiful colors. absolutely love them. The feel of it is super soft and squishy, and I would say that the twist on this is a springy twist, so it is quite a high twist, and it does have elasticity in it. I just can't wait to work this up. Thank you so much. I know the mind just swells with ideas when you kind of think of what you can make with all of these luscious yarns. So thank you so much for the gift. So the next thing that I'm going to show you is another gift, and it was from one of hubby's friends. So this I'm going to classify as happy mail as well, even though it came home with hubby one night. And these were yarns that were novel yarns the person was not going to use, and they thought I would get a use out of them. And I agree, there are so many interesting yarns in here. And so this is the bag. I don't know whether you can see all those things in there. I won't go through everything, but I'll pull out a few just to see whether you recognize any of these yarns. I'm not sure whether they're old yarns that are discontinued or yarns that are hard to find. Some of them I've noticed come from Canada and some come from China. So let's take a look and let me know if you see anything that you recognize. So this one is the first one that I have one ball of. It's Patent's Shetland rag, and it is a acrylic wool blend. So I know what Patent's is, and I've used the classic wool before, so it's sort of similar to that. It feels similar to the classic wool. It has a bit of tooth to it. Now this one is in the color, it doesn't have a name, but it is 9705, and it is a machine wash in lukewarm and gentle cycle dry flat. Lovely squishy yarn, has a bit of tooth to it. Have you seen this before? I haven't. Yeah. And the next one that I have is a novel yarn here. It is from Lime Brand. It's called Fun Fur. Now, I've seen people use this before on YouTube channels, but I've never tried it, never felt it. It is quite fuzzy and eyelashy, quite soft. So this might be good for brims of your hat or edging of scarf, or if you're framing some sort of work in a different type of shape, like a hexagon blanket or even a granny square blanket, and you want to sort of have some fun going through all of the edgings, you could probably use something like this. I got it in different colors as well. Fun Fur, so there's a different color there. And this yarn here was an interesting one, and it is a made in China yarn, easy knit tricot facile. I don't know what that is. Facile, and it's called Sublime. I'm not sure. Maybe Sublime is the name of the company. And this one was purchased at Walmart. It is a novelty yarn, so it has the bumpies on it. Kind of reminds me of someone. So it's eyelashy with some sort of, no, it's actually eyelashy. It doesn't have bumps on it. Some of the eyelashes are kind of like creating little bumps when you look at it, but it's really soft, like almost latte soft. Have you seen this yarn? So I've got several colors in it as well. There's another one there. The next one that I have is, oh, there's another color in the Sublime. It's like a grayish one. This one is a unique one as well, and it's from the same easy to knit tricot facile, and this one is called Multi Plush. This one has an interesting, I don't know what that is. It's like a ribbon yarn that has some bits that are filled and some bits that aren't filled. And this color here, they're 50-gram balls and 100% polyester. This one here doesn't have a colorway name, but it's more of the, it's sort of like a beige got some brown in it and a little bit of green. So have you seen this one? Now in the bag was also one that had been worked up like a project, and this is the what was it called? Multi plush, and the multi plush works up like this. This is knitted and it's just the garter stitch. I shouldn't say just, because garter stitch is beautiful, and I could see this as a throw or pillowcase decor. Yeah, lots of different applications, but more so to do with the interior decor and something that would be accenting your look and feel of a room. Very, very nice. It's quite soft and bouncy. So I don't know how it would work up, but obviously the person who was making that project went long enough to give a few hours of garter stitching there. And last one that's of a different type of nature, actually I've got two more that are different from what I showed you, is this one here, and this one is called Noro, No Boundaries. Nobu, No Boundaries. And it's kind of like a shimmery, it has two strands together that are loose and lightly twisted. So you must work with the two strands and work up your garment. So it's a beautiful color. It's a little rougher. I would say that you could feel that sparkle in there, and I'm not sure how that would work up. So this one is 50 grams as well, and it's part acrylic, nylon, and metallic. The color is unknown. What are you? It's made in Turkey. And there is a number here. I don't know whether it pertains to a color, but it's 906. Yeah. It's a hand wash and lay flat. So that's a great little novelty there. Now I have the last one to show you, but doesn't have a band on it. And actually there are 3 little clumps in here that have no band, but this one is different type of eyelash to the other one that I showed you. This one is very shiny, and to me, I can feel that foundation thread that the eyelash sits on. So would you know what this one is? Give me your best suggestions on what you feel that you may have come across that this yarn could be, and I'd love to look it up and see whether we could match it with something. So I want to say thank you to the person who gave me this beautiful offering of interesting novel yarns, and somewhere along the line I'd love to work them up and find out how I could make them into more of the decor fun pieces, maybe a bag or a little, you know, scrappy blanket, and I think that might accent our room very nicely. Yay! So I was putting my notes together to talk about what I've been up to in the community here with my husband, and the twinkling of the lights, the string lights blew. I don't know what happened. I've tried a different outlet. Maybe they got overheated. With today's market on how they do the string lights, they don't last very long, a season. So we'll just carry on, make do without the lights. It was really nice while they lasted. But if you were just here to hear the yarny and crafty goodies, then I want to say thank you for joining in this far into the episode. And if you're interested in traveling along further and finding out what's been going on, please stick around. So it's been a busy couple of weeks here in this household, but I also know that everyone is gearing up for the end of the year. So some commenters have been telling me about their busy times. Friends down in the States just celebrated their Thanksgiving, and it was a crazy rush for that. And I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving down in the United States. If you celebrated, that you had some time with family. And we had a couple of weeks, I guess, of gearing up for Black Friday sales. Always tends to start about a week before the actual event day. And I made an order from Knitpicks. I always try and hold off on Knitpicks until they have their Black Friday because they do have fantastic deals. I'll showcase that box. It is here and I've had it now for about a week. I'll show it in the next episode, I believe. Chad celebrated his birthday last weekend, and as per usual, I always get a cake for any occasion. I love my cakes and my pies, so this one was a great treat. We hadn't tried this variety of cake before, and it was called the Orange Creamsicle Cheesecake from our favorite Hot Chocolates bakery, famous in the Comox Valley. It was a smallish size, 6-inch circumference cake, but if you know the nature of cheesecake, it's quite dense, so it took us a couple of sittings to finish, but we had some company to try it out and also help us eat it. So 2 friends had come over from Vancouver, long-standing friends. Chad went to high school with one of them, and I've met both of them. They're a married couple, and they came over for 2 nights. I've known them for, I think, as long as I've known Chad, maybe a little less. So what is that, 12, 13 years? And we love them dearly. They stayed for 2 nights. We played board games. So there was Wingspan, a lot of intricate parts in Wingspan, but it is a board game that you need to set aside about an hour, not as long as Catan, but slightly shorter, and lots of rules. So if you're in for the rules and reading of the cards, which I find the print is very, very small, then that might be a game for you to try out. Then we also played Catchphrase, which is an electronic disc that you play in teams. So it's like Taboo. You basically read the phrase on the display board on what it's trying to tell you, get you to explain without using the words within the catchphrase to your teammates who don't get to see what the phrase is. And that's always fun. So we played a couple of rounds of that. We also had a wonderful meal. Chad is really into the hot plate board that you cook on. It's called raclette, and you put like your vegetables, your sausage meat, as well as you can have all different types of things. But on top of the hot plate is where you set them for a while. And then underneath is a toaster, and you can broil your cheese on top of all of the cooked vegetables, and you generally have it with bread. So that's what we enjoyed for his birthday. It was a really nice time, and we enjoyed our company with the friends that stayed over. Other than that, I think I've been trying to get out doing my walks and hiking whenever I can. It's been snowing around where we live right now, and we've got like maybe 1.5 feet of snow. It started about 4 days ago, so I've got some winter wonderland walks that I'm going to share with you at the end of the video, and I hope that you enjoy the scenery. Right now there is a lot of activity by the river because the salmon that have come up to spawn, they're now passing away, and there's like birds that are going down to feed and feast. And yeah, so there's one of the walks I went on, I saw eagles and I saw large birds of prey, and just beautiful. The next thing that I have in my notes here, I'm looking down, I'm sorry, is that what I've been watching and what I've been listening to. So when the friends were here, we do like taking turns in choosing what's new in the world of music or TikTok raves. We spent a couple of hours, just catching up and then flicking on what comes up in our conversation. So FIFA World Cup was one of the topics that we talk about. If you haven't heard of FIFA, it is a soccer tournament that is open worldwide. Only a certain grade of teams will make it into the FIFA Cup. And it's every 4 years, I believe, and they open it up with or they gear up with a couple of artists in music that will do the official FIFA World Cup song. So we were listening to that, and we're listening to also the other artists who create work that may not be recognized as the official, but they do their music anyway regardless. And oh my goodness, we had a delight with hours of listening to what types of music are for the FIFA Cup. There's this one really interesting song called Taka Taka, and it really is a cultural mix of artists from Qatar. Qatar is where the World Cup is this year. So there is Nicki Minaj, which is, there's always some sort of well-known artist. And then there is a couple of artists that you might not have heard of, but are popular within the hosting country. And yeah, so if you get a chance to Google, I think it's called Taka Taka, but I don't even know how to spell it. If I can remember to link it down below, I'll also include it in my show notes. Moving right along, I always catch you up on what I've been watching and stitching away to, so I'm going to make some suggestions if you're looking for something to work to or have in the background. I didn't have any notes in here on movies, but I have been watching some movies. These are all notes that I've made on series. So I did watch The Crown, which is the latest series of The Crown, and I found I enjoyed it. Now, the feedback on a lot of the, I guess, the viewers out there who watched The Crown, they were saying that they didn't enjoy it as much because of the character, the Queen, associated more so with a character that the actress was more well known for, which is Professor, Dolores Umbridge, and that character was from Harry Potter. But I didn't get that experience watching it, maybe for the first 10 minutes, and then I kind of fell into tow with the character that she was portraying, Elizabeth, and the Queen, Her Majesty. And then they were a lot of vignettes of different storylines that were coming in. So maybe the Queen story played second fiddle to the little vignettes of Dodie or Princess Di or Prince Charles, now the King. So I did enjoy it because it was a patchwork of underlying stories from different areas of the royal family. My favorite one was actually Dodie episode. I enjoyed it all, but that one seemed to be the most different to understand aspects that might come into the storyline later. And I don't know how many seasons they're going to be able to go with because there is an infinite end. But I'm enjoying it, and I enjoyed it. I would suggest watching it. And if you don't get into it within the first episode, then perhaps maybe that pace or that storyline or storytelling is not for you. The other thing that I can say that I've just started watching, I'm not through with it yet, but I'm enjoying it. It's called Tin Star. Now, it's centered in Alberta, Canada, and I don't know whether it's a fictional city or township that it is filmed in. It's called Big Little Bear or Little Big Bear, and there are so many counterparts to it. There's a new sheriff in town that is someone who is flown in from the UK, and he's starting a new life with his family and 2 children. There's mix up there with like a oil company that is coming through the area, and it's not a true story, but like the idea of like the oil company coming in is kind of something that is felt in parts of Canada, and I'm sure where you are as well, there might be a similar situation. And it really does show a black and white kind of style of idea behind characters of each of the facets of life of Walk. So you got the greedy kind of company being represented in a dark way, and then you have like and the innocence of like the children, and then you have the law-abiding citizens as opposed to other ones that want to be corrupt and take advantage of the situation. all of that plays into very dramatic and sometimes triggering storylines. So just a word of warning that if you are sensitive to certain things, there are elements of violence and there are elements of another message, elements of topics that may be trigger topics. There is alcoholism in it, and there is scenes that may be dark and also, not cheery or happy. But I'm intrigued to continue on to see how the situation is resolved. There are plenty of problems that are stitched in and woven into each other. And the acting is wonderful. Even when there's not much dialogue, I truly do get a lot of, comes across with just the facial expressions or the silent times in the movie. So yeah, if that kind of thing is of interest to you, maybe check out an episode. It does start off with, it does start off with a very impactful, striking part in the story. So if you feel a little queasy after that, then maybe it's not the episode for you to watch or the series to watch. With that, I will catch you up in the next episode. I hope that you enjoy yourselves, stay safe, and I hope that you're staying warm if you are in a snowy filled area like we are. And if you're in the southern hemisphere, I hope that you're enjoying more temperate climates or that the weather is pleasant. Okay, bye for now.